If you do this to our son, then we will do this to your son. It will be a righteous judgment. When you kill one of us, we're going to find exactly who have done that, and we're going to render the righteous judgment onto him. Our enemies don't want us to have any guns. They want to have all the guns. And like the old saying goes, it ain't no fun when the rabbit gets the gun. So they don't want to see us armed at all, for the simple fact that they want to be able to be the one that's doing all the foul things. If we look at our enemies and how they rose to power, how they rose to prominence, how they were able to get all these lands of the earth and to control their people by way of the sword, it's through violence. This whole apparatus of these many nations cannot be maintained without the gun. They are not going to ban it. They make them. They are the manufacturers of these weapons of war. So therefore, they're not going to ban these weapons, because this weapon or these weapons is how these nations are able to maintain their grip upon the people of the earth. It is through violence. It is through wars. It is through weaponry. So violence is a language that they understand. However, if they are to bring violence to us and we're walking within the law, statute, judgments, and precepts of the Most High, we are instructed clearly to retaliate. That's an eye for an eye. When you murder one of us, we are to deal with you. And that goes for the enemies within as well as the enemies without. So we are to watch them doubling down on when we present their foulness, their wickedness before their face. That don't mean nothing. They're going to disregard it. They have no connection to, no responsibility to righteousness at all. They just don't. And if they did, they would not have done what they have done throughout the earth by killing, murdering its people, and stealing their land. They would not have done it. All this is unrighteous. All these are unrighteous acts. And the thing is, our enemies are not bashful, or not contrite, and are not shameful for any of this vile, foul, and unrighteous behavior. They'll look you in the face and tell you straight up, they don't care anything about that. Okay? Hey, as long as they win, they don't care how they do it. Lie, cheat, steal, kill, whatever. As long as they're on top, that is the main objective. These are the ways of our enemies. They operate with no rules, no law, and we are not to operate in such a lawless and unscrupulous fashion. Now, the next part of this segment, I'd like to know exactly where are the preachers, and where is the Pope at this time? We're hearing a whole lot of things pertaining to this plague and what's going on the earth, but what we're not hearing the Pope step up and say anything pertaining to what's happening. Of course, he's dealing with a whole bunch of lawsuits, a whole bunch of pedophilia, and a whole bunch of homosexual priests, pastors, bishops, etc. in his organization. So he's got a handful of filth that he has to deal with. But these regular preachers over here that's still trying to get people's money, though they're not able to go into the church, at no time can you go into the days of old where you can read that the Most High's temple was closed because there was a plague on the earth. You'll never read that. So when you see that these churches are closed, when you see that this COVID-19 plague is killing these pastors, killing these bishops in the Catholic Church, killing these nuns, causing these churches to close, putting a spirit of ignorance upon some of these pastors for them to open up their church, and soon as they do, everybody gets sick. This is the Most High showing the righteous that these churches has nothing to do with him. The unrighteous will not be able to see that because they have an idol in their heart. They have that stumbling block. But the righteous, we know clearly what we're looking at. So we're seeing these churches being closed down. But yet the pastor wants his money. So we're going to see exactly how committed these pastors really are when the people are stripped of their jobs. They're fighting to get something to eat. The lines are long for bread. There's a famine of righteousness in the land, and no one is able to pay you any money. And while all of this is happening, there are men in the house of Israel magnifying the Most High's law, and the people who are struggling, who are in disarray, who are confused and afraid, hears that word and turns to it. And they realize that you are a fraud and that you have victimized them for years. Stand by for how that's going to go. So these are some of the current events that we're dealing with here in America and here throughout the earth. To be honest with you, these situations, they're everywhere. So you cannot hide from these curses. You cannot hide from what's going on in the earth. The Most High will reach to all the nooks and crannies of the earth. His plagues are going to be there. He will send these plagues in all of those places. These hurricanes are coming stronger than ever, and the whirlwinds, and the floods, and the famine, and the wars. It is coming no matter where you are. But wherever you are, so are his laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. And to protect yourself from all of this, you are simply to take a hold of it, to walk in it, to teach it, to live it, and to do it. So that covers some of the current events that I'm seeing right now. Mass confusion, hysteria, loss of jobs. Some people's faith are a bit shaken because they're saying that that which they've placed their trust in is not working. And it's hard to take a man who is 60 years old and convince him, hey, look, what you're doing is not working. Let's look at the evidence. Many of them know that it's not working, but they just don't want to look. I don't want to hear that. They are not willing to say, let me consider my ways and my doings. Let me consider that which I've been taught. Let me go into this book and read and see if that which I believe is actually true. And believe it or not, there are some people who are doing this. So these are some current events that we are dealing with currently right at this minute. So consider your ways and your doings and make them good. Continue to turn to the Most High. Face Jerusalem. Lift your hands in prayer. Make your supplication there. Walk in this law. It is our only protection. And what we're seeing now will only get worse. But if you're within this law, then the Most High clearly states that he will protect you in your house. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. These current events, they're getting worse. They're getting worse. And we have to protect ourselves. We've tried everything else. And the only thing left standing is this law. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Peace.